I don't know, maybe I'm just like a prima donna or something, but I've been fortunate enough to not have to be freezing when I'm
Yay.
trying to sleep. Although there have been occasions when I've been in like the back of a truck.
A driver that's fat and happy right now, sitting on the pole for the 2023 Daytona 24-hour. Tom Blomquist joining us here in the Freak Nation. And before we went live, we were talking a little bit about the damn weather. How important for you psychologically is the weather, whether it's the Daytona 24-hour or the 6-hour or the 12-hour? Are you a weatherman driver when you hop in the car?
You know what? It doesn't bother me too bit. I really don't mind. Obviously, I don't like it when it's wet because, when you're not in the car, it's kind of nasty, right? It's more work for the guys and stuff. But to be honest, mate, it does not bother me. But it's always nice when the sun's shining, the fans are out. Yeah, it's better to be at a racetrack when the sun's out. I'm telling you that.
Well, hold on a second. Let me take it into a different direction, because with a 24-hour race, there's some sleep time. Most of the time, I would say you go back to your motorhomes when you need to catch a nap before your next stint. But I've seen drivers sleep in the pits. I mean, you had to have had a time where you're sleeping in bitter cold weather, but you got to get those couple of hours in, and you don't have time to go back to the motorhome. Is that true?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a prima donna or something, but I've been fortunate enough to not have to be freezing when I'm trying to sleep. Although there have been occasions when I've been in like the back of a truck. And then the problem in the back of a truck is either like way too hot or like way too cold. So that's a nightmare. Luckily nowadays we get like lovely motorhomes to go and relax in between stints. So yeah.
Talking about the great season for you guys, it's you and Colin Brown. And for the endurance races, Simon Pagenaud and Elio Castroneves joining you. It's a stellar lineup that you guys have. But another thing that's stellar, Tom, is you brought up this new era of car, and we're talking about some electrification coming in, and this is the future of racing. But with that, a lot of people were predicting this weekend, next weekend, as a lot of trial and error, some teething that's going to go on with these new cars. Yet you guys have been fairly dominant. What have you guys had above other teams that you haven't necessarily suffered the fate of some others so far?
I think, we've got to give credit to, Acura, HPD. I can't do that when it's all in reverse here. I'm getting that all wrong. But yeah, HPD, Acura, the car manufacturer, Orica back in France. Those guys have done such a fantastic job. With all the prep, from the moment the car hit the drawing board all the way to the final, production, that we have here, as us teams, IMSA can, has got the beauty to work with, to do that, final fine tuning. So, the cars obviously, we've got a great car underneath us. The potential is there. It's been shown all week, and to get the pole is obviously, fantastic, and a little bit of bragging rights for a few days, ahead of the race, which is important for the team morale. So that's cool. But yeah, it's we still have 24 hours of racing, and no one, if you ask every single one of us in the GP class, all the manufacturers, all the drivers, no one knows what to expect, and no one's expecting a smooth race. We certainly aren't. We need to prepare for everything, and yeah, it's gonna be wild. I can tell you, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be the first time that we've gonna attempt 24 hours of continuous running. So it's a learning curve for everyone. Put it that way.
Okay,
and
so you say you're
very character building.
Yeah, character building indeed. You're preparing for everything, but what is everything? I mean, let's say, obviously you can never prepare for accidents, but even your driving style in these new cars and charging issues, is it just literally everything? Or is there something in particular that you might say, okay, if an off on in the bus stop happens, or take me through one of those meetings, I guess.
Well, basically we've got 3 times as many basically little mini supercomputers in the car than we did last year with the car.
3 times.
It's like ridiculous, the amount of coding and software and, new software that's, these cars are basically computers, and if something is a little bit wrong on the coding, this thing isn't driving out the box. So, it's a lot of work for the engineers. I get the easy job really, to just kind of steal the limelight here and there every now and then. So it's the guys who are back at base and the team who are putting in those hard yards, making sure that this thing is running as well as it possibly can at all times. And we have hiccups. If something's not right in the coding, car doesn't run. You have to plug the thing in, download the data, and upload a new file to it and hope that one works. It's literally like a computer sometimes. So then you've got the mechanical, the new mechanical parts on the car that maybe, well, we didn't see that problem before. Some new little issue might crop up. So
it's more than just a slogan. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressively styling the Speed Freaks since 2001.
How is it all working out, Tom, with the team sharing information? I assume that people are supposed to work together by the manufacturer's decree, but Michael Shank Racing and Wayne Taylor Racing are going to be banging bumpers when the race starts, and they're not going to be working together anymore.
We've kind of got this healthy, unhealthy, competitive it's pretty, it's been exciting the last year because we always end up fighting. Last year we're driving for the same brand. We're trying to work together, and then we always end up competing. It's always us that are we're like this all the time last year, and this year we've kind of had to reset and work together for the better of the brand and even ourselves, right, to put ourselves in the best position. So it's been really, really nice since October, kind of getting putting the two teams together and working together to put ourselves in a position that's enabled me to be here today talking to you guys. So I got to thank also all the WTR guys who to be honest got this car before us and did a lot of the early development work. So I've got to thank them massively as well, because they did a fantastic job, and then we came into the fold, and we've obviously worked really well together to give us that little bragging rights ahead of the race, and it's been fun, but once we're out on track, we're obviously fierce competitors, so it's obviously a weird dynamic at times, for sure.
All right, so I'm going to measure the smile on your face when you hear this question. I'm sure there's one or two little odds and ends. And when you're talking about 200 miles an hour, it doesn't take a lot of odds and ends to separate yourself from the next guy. So is there something that maybe got lost in a drawer or somebody kept in a pocket to learn how this car works, and maybe the other guys haven't learned it yet?
I mean, there's so many.
I see you're losing there. That smile's too big, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna carry the smile, and I'm walking the paddock with a bit of swagger next week for sure. But I'm sure the grin will be wiped off my face at some point early into the race, because man, these things, anything can happen right now. It's just we're still having so many little issues that obviously we want one more year before this car really wants to run. So. And we just don't have that time. The guys are hardly sleeping at the moment. It's pretty crazy.
I'm going to ask you one other question here that's a little tangential to the Roar Before the 24 and the Rolex. They had the Monte Carlo this weekend. Your dad was a former world champion. Did you ever think about running and rallying, or did you? I know you're concentrating on getting the pole this weekend, but did your mind ever float to? I wonder what I would do in a race, in a rally like that.
It's a good question, because actually when I was really little, I wanted to do that. I had so much fun. I used to love playing in the mud. I think my dad bought me a quad bike. I was 3 years old, and I used to love going sideways in the mud. And we had a little bit of, when I grew up in the UK, I had a little bit of land, and I used to. Luckily, I was let loose in the paddocks in some old bangers, and I used to love just messing around, trying to skid these cars in the mud. And honestly, it was kind of random that I went into go-karts when I was about 7 or 8. It was just by chance, really. So actually, my first love was that. And then once I started go-karts, it was kind of game over. But I did get the opportunity to go have a rally in 2019 in like an R5, like the second class under the top class, the WRC. And I may have had there was maybe some small regrets coming into my head after doing that, because that was honestly I haven't had so much fun. Like, that was amazing, but I was doing it for fun, right? It wasn't like, so maybe that kind of skewed my my judgment of it. But yeah, maybe I'm still young. Let's see.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
They'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
Oh, wow.
Anything you want to down the road.
Tom
Yes.
Blomqvist joining us here in the Freak Nation. Again, Michael Shank Racing sitting on the pole for the 2023 Daytona 24-hour. Maybe we'll have you back in here a little bit later this time next week, Tom.
I hope so.
Buddy, thank you for doing this.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much. Love
You
to
bet.
meet you all.
Yes,
Tom
you too.
Blomqvist joining
me
us
luck.
from
Wish
the
us
Freak
luck.
Nation. Oh, hell, good luck there, Skippy. All right? He's got
buddy.
good luck. He's benefiting from the
Yes.
Freak Nation. Freak Nation. Speaking of more freaks coming up from the Lucas Oil Studios.